Welcome to Jaded Wrestling TV. Today we're talking about Mandela effects. Who's this on my t-shirt, Taylor?
As August burns red. You know we're
No,
all big metal
who's
fans
the
around
image
here.
of? Who's the
Oh,
image?
it's Smokey the Bear.
No, it's not a thee. Google it. I forever all my life he was Smokey the Bear, but now they say it's just Smokey Bear. It's another
What?
Mandela effect. Yes,
No, it's Smokey the Bear. I
Google
don't
it.
believe you. All right, I'm Googling it right
Google
now.
it.
I'm Googling it
There's
right
no
now.
thee. There's no thee now. The multiverse has changed.
That's ridiculous. I don't believe that his name was Smokey Bear the whole time. That is freaking ridiculous. I do not believe. Smokey Says was the original campaign. It's never been Smokey the Bear in our entire life.
See? Mandela effect.
Absolutely mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. I don't
That's
believe it.
right.
This
That
this
I
does
got.
really feel like Sinbad's genie movie to me.
Well, I actually, what made me think about that was wrestling related. Hi guys, I'm Ted from Ted Takes on Wrestling. By the way, and that's Taylor. This is his show, but I just did an NWO takeover of it, I guess. Um, you know when you started, Jaded Wrestling, the podcast, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's always been you and other guests, but I got an email said somebody remembered that there was a Jaded Wrestling, back in the day, and you had a permanent co-host. See, what was his name? Will or something like that.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's a Mandela effect. That never happened.
Well, it has been scrubbed from the internet. So just like the Sinbad genie movie, I think it exists. I just think no one can ever find it again. So
Is that
it
it?
has completely been scrubbed from the internet, just like Sinbad's career.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, we're not here to talk about Sinbad. We're here to talk about AEW. Before we get into this episode, and today we're reviewing AEW Episode 3, I want to talk about the current landscape of AEW because the episode we watched that we're reviewing today has a lot of Darby in it again, and I think the first chance at a world title for Darby Allin on this episode. And we skipped what 7 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's world champion now, having match after match after match, which we can get into. Um, but before we go into this pay per view on Sunday, which I've already paid for, I don't know about you. What do you think is going to happen here? You think we're going to get a bald MJF?
I love the stipulation because I'm going to bite on every near fall, and I've got a
Yeah.
theory. If MJF loses, here's my theory. MJF has kept secret several interviews talking about he's got some big movie roles coming up. What if he's got a serious acting role where he wants to show his chops like Cena and Batista and The Rock and all them guys, and the director is asking him to shave his head bald to make him a serious actor in this movie? So MJF pitches the idea to TK, said, listen, I got to shave my head bald for this movie, so let's make some money and run with it.
God, that's so smart. It also seems like a way that MJF would think about wrestling in real life. How can we blend the
Yeah,
two things? Because we have a
right.
lot of scenarios where, like, even down to his wedding, he makes it a work. You know what I mean? Everything
Yeah,
about his
yeah.
life is a work. And right now, we've got him working with Mick Foley and working with Malachi Black and working with all these other people that are it blurs the lines of what's real and what's fake. You know what I mean? So,
And to further this crazy theory, because at the one time there was the Mick Foley said his retirement match he would love to do MJF, right?
hmm
Okay, he's already announced for Double or Nothing. What if the main
right.
event? They ask him to come to the commentator booth? MJF's gonna pull
What?
out the diamond ring,
Yeah.
and Mick Foley stops MJF from
hmm
cheating. Darby gets the victory. MJF goes bald, goes off and shoots a movie, but vows revenge on Mick Foley when he comes back, and that sets up a retirement match.
I wonder really seriously if he has been playing around with the idea of getting cleared to have that match that he wanted so badly. Because I remember in the past when they had rumored the match to happen, and he said that that's what he wanted was to end it with MJF. It was disclosed that he wasn't healthy enough and couldn't get cleared.
Right.
So I wonder very seriously if he's been playing with the idea of getting cleared too, which is very, very interesting to me. Like, I don't know that I necessarily believe that he can have even the match he had at the end of his career with Randy Orton. I don't think any of this is possible, but I do think that if there's anybody that is creative enough to give him something to chew on, it's MJF. He's the perfect person because just like you said, the lines of real life, the lines of real life and wrestling are not so far apart when it comes to MJF. He is one of the last guys that's running the gimmick at the fucking merch table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of the last guys that's running the gimmick everywhere he goes. Like, there's never a place where he goes that he's not running the gimmick. I don't know if you saw, and I'll probably clip it here in a minute, but that video of Macho Verse, the guy that dresses up like Macho Man running into MJF at that con. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one.
He goes by him, and this guy is in full Macho Man gear, and he talks like Macho Man. That's his thing. Like, he walks around dressed and acts like Macho Man. So he walks by, and he goes, "Oh, MJF, how you doing?" And MJF, without breaking stride, as he's walking, goes, "Yeah, suck my dick," and walks right by with no hesitation. There's no break in his stride. He doesn't even look at this guy barely. Just with no hesitation, just a shot to the jaw. He's so fast. Like, it's just incredible how fast he is in every situation. Like, I'm honestly like, it might be time to start putting him in that list of guys that could be the best wrestler working right now. Like, he could be the best in all of wrestling at this point in time. Like, I don't think there's anybody that's doing better work than him. That's for sure. Especially when it comes to creating storylines.
I heard somebody the other day, I forget who it was, that mentioned, because, he keeps saying if he wins this championship again, his third championship by 30.
Yeah. That's insanity.
They told the list that had done it, and it was, I forget who it was, but it was very small, and all the names were pretty big.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of those stats that's like averaging 30 points and having 3 MVPs is like a list of like 4 people, and there's an SGA is about to do it right now. It's the same thing with MJF. He's breaking barriers in wrestling at an age that's just unheard of. Like, most of the time, by the time you get to the amount of winning that he's done, these guys are so seasoned and so deep in, and he's really not. For what it's worth, like, it's crazy how successful he is at this age. It's just absolutely mind blowing. But anyway, let's get into Dynamite episode 3. So before we get into it, we do a little rating set first. So I wanted to see what you thought of it, and I'll tell you what I thought of it, and then I'll give you the rating from Cage Match. So go ahead, tell me what you think.
This one, from bell to bell, I think I actually like the last one better than this one.
Yeah, me too. And I think I gave the last one a B minus or something. So
yeah, and I think I did like a B plus. So I'm gonna go B minus this time.
I'll probably go C plus on this one. I think there was some stuff that we're cutting the fat, but like, I liked everything. I just don't know that everything meant as much to me as the last episode did. There was some things in this that I really, really enjoyed, but the minor tweaks they made this week, especially to Jon Moxley, I don't love. And there are certain things that I'm not huge fans of in this, but on the other side of that, I think there's some really, really cool stuff in here too. I also think that a lot of the stuff that I really enjoyed, we've gotten in other places, and it's not been in tag team form, it's been in singles form, which is another reason why it's like, we've gotten this and it's been better in other ways, which is not surprising. Like, most people at this era of AEW are going to wrestle each other a bunch. So you're going to
Oh
get a
yeah.
lot of the same matches here in the first few weeks, probably in different ways. But
Hmm.
we started the night off with SCU versus the Best Friends, and I think this is our first match for the Best Friends, right? The first time we've seen
Yes.
them in a ring. Um,
Yeah.
I I miss Chuck Taylor. I miss wrestlers that
Yeah.
have a regular body. You know what I mean?
Right.
Representation is so important, and I need a regular body wrestler that really can go. Um, I hate that he's not going to probably wrestle ever again. It stinks. So,
So
um,
I wrote down a couple things. First, Trent, long hair or short hair?
short hair. It's way better. He looks
Okay.
ridiculous with long hair. Short hair for sure. Also miss his mom.
Okay.
If I could
Um,
turn his mom heel, that would be the
yeah,
greatest thing we could do for wrestling. If I could turn
that
Trent's
would be.
mom into a bad guy, I want that. Tony, if you ever hear anything, hear this. Trent's mom needs to be a bad guy.
So the other thing, I had a brief. I mean, I don't watch it as much, so I can't. And somebody in the comments can call me out or whatever. But Scorpio Sky is really over
Yeah.
from the crowd reaction. But obviously, as we watch, he loses it. And, he does a lot of good moves, but his character, right? So I was thinking about WWE, and he's young and he can develop because by this time, Scorpio's already up in his 30s, by the time
Yeah.
he's doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about the difference in WWE between Trick Williams and Javon Evans. Javon Evans is over.
Yeah.
He can do all these moves, but have you noticed that he hasn't really done much in a little bit? And it's like people are like, okay, we've seen the moves you're doing, but where's the personality? Where Trick Williams has the personality and can do some moves. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the difference is he's getting over and he's getting over on a catchphrase, where Trick Williams is getting over on a theme song. So it's a different way to get over in both ways. Like you think a catchphrase would work just as well, but I mean
And
I don't think it maybe does. Like I think maybe your best bet is to get yourself a theme song that everybody wants to sing and walk out to it and people are gonna love you no matter
but
what.
but I think even when you go back to NXT, I mean Javon's got the catchphrase, but I think overall Trick Williams is better on the mic.
Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is. And
Right.
I think they played around at first when he was on NXT, thinking that he was not as good as Carmelo. Like there was a lot of
Right.
moments where it was like Carmelo and him would have these things where they worked together for a long time, and it always made him the Shawn Michaels. And then they put them
Well,
against each other, and that's when they realized, like, oh, we might have been wrong because Trick
well,
really stood up for himself and made that a feud that people remembered in NXT. He's really good, but I don't think people saw it a lot when he first got there
right.
because Carmelo was in the
So
way.
going and that I guess that's where I'm going with Scorpio Sky. It was like he was really popular. People loved him, and Tony has tried to push him so many times, but his mic skills and just his personality has never really been there to me.
Yeah, for sure. I
I mean,
agree. I agree. And
even like when he was with Ethan Page on the mic, Ethan Page was the one that shined.
yeah,
You
but
know,
that's because Ethan Page is the whole package wrestler. Again,
yeah,
it's apples and oranges. It's Trick Williams and Javon Evans. One of those guys is a whole package wrestler already. One of
right,
those guys will probably be a whole package wrestler, but right now, Trick's the more developed talent. And
right,
when he was with Ethan Page, it felt like Ethan Page knew exactly what he was doing.
yeah,
Even when it's stuff that should get him over as a heel, like pushing Darby down a staircase, which we're going to
yeah,
watch in a couple of years. It just never felt like it's hard to care about it because he doesn't give
yeah.
you anything to care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
It's
and
just
I'll go ahead before the match, and then there's a throwaway match later on that I really didn't care much about either.
yeah,
It was the Lucha Brothers and some people don't realize this, but when they first came into AEW, they were doing this, heel tag team thing.
Well, that's honestly the reason I wanted to talk about it, because we're right now we've got Penta in primo face mode, and I almost forgot this era existed. Like I almost forgot there was a version of Penta that was just absolutely diabolical. Like it felt like someone should have called Child Protective Services because they were just beating Marco's stunt to death.
But the whole thing with even them, I guess, and now that I go back and look after seeing them during their face run through the majority of AEW, is Penta has always been able to pull off the heel character. He's done it in Lucha Underground. He's done it otherwise, but it's like Rey Fenix is more of a Rey Mysterio. It's just hard to accept him as a heel.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's maybe because of the moveset as well, though. Penta's got a handful of heel style moves. Like all of his moves are heel moves. Like it's not like Ray has a bunch of those. Like Ray doesn't have a bag full of like arm breakers. You know what I mean? Or the Penta driver, the way they did it was just so dastardly. And he's just so mean in this match. Like there's no reason for him to beat Marco's stunt like that. It's just he beat him like a wet bag of laundry. There's just no reason for that.
And just from the very beginning, when they attacked SCU before the bell for that first match, and I guess them spilling over, showing heel stuff at the beginning of the show, and then they continued in their match. I did like that, but it was just bringing back the memories. Oh yeah, they're heels. I keep forgetting. So.
Well, it also felt like at this point in time, like they were doing really, really easily archetypal heel shit too. Like, example, having Pac come out of the tunnel like they did with the camera following. Like, it's a different way to showcase him, but you never do that with a face.
Right.
It wouldn't work the same. So you want the crowd reaction for the face, but for the heel, you don't give a shit. The only thing you care about is showing him looking menacing, and he's 5'4", so you better stand behind him and sit down.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and also the foreshadow of having him come out like that right after they beat the tar out of Jurassic Express. To maybe even, I don't know how far along we are into AEW when Death Triangle is made, but the foreshadowing of Death Triangle is beautiful. And we've already set up Pac as a unit because he's already beaten Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect story for Pac. I mean, I shudder to think where he'd be if he wouldn't have had visa issues early on and got himself on Tony's bad side.
Right.
Because he's just heavily showcased in the first 3 episodes of AEW. And to be honest, he's never been bad. Like, it's never been like, man, that's a bad match. You never say that about him. That just doesn't happen. So I do really, really think there was some really interesting stuff in this. And I did really enjoy that Penta match. I got a lot out of that. To be honest, that's my kind of match. Like, I don't mind. And that was the 3rd longest match on the night. You know what I mean? Like, they gave a lot of time to Penta and Rey Fenix. And honestly, Jack Perry looked great. Yeah. So, say what you want. Jack Perry's a stud, dude. Like, he's a small stud, but he's a stud nonetheless.
All right.
So we have to get into a bunch of stuff here. I want to talk a little bit about Jon Moxley changing his clothes, just a slight amount. We're not out of the shorts era, but this is worse. Like, he should have kept the barbed wire shorts because now his name's on the shorts and I don't like him anymore. I'm going to go ahead and reverse my decision last week and say I'm into Jon Moxley in pants. It's worse.
I told you that last week.
Well, he ruined them. He ruined them by putting his name on the shorts. It was cool until it wasn't. It feels like he just got too comfortable.
Also, though, before we get to Moxley, also the foreshadowing. Let's go back to Santana and Ortiz. against Silver and Reynolds.
I don't even I don't know if I walked out of the room, but I might have missed this match. What happened?
It was only 2. It was only 2 minutes. But the thing is, this sets up Silver and Reynolds losing all the time, to where they end up getting recruited and end up in the Dark Order with Uno and Grayson.
Oh, that's very interesting. See, I never really got to see how this is formed. So it's
Right,
nice that
because
we get a little piece of this. Even is it a squash match?
basically that's what the Dark Order started out, was a bunch of guys losing all the time.
Yeah,
And then you got to get
given somebody who's worth the shit. Yeah,
then you've got to get the grand the Grand Master to come in and lead them, and that's where you get Brody Lee in. So just some foreshadowing of that. That'll be the other thing. You're gonna see them losing a lot.
Well, that's totally fine. I'm a big John Silver guy, so if we can get him on TV for 2-minute increments, I guess I'm fine with it. Let the boy cook.
Yep.
Again, I love a short king. You can't go wrong with a short king. I don't know that this Adam Page, Kenny Omega, John Moxley, Pac match was as good as Kenny Omega and Pac by itself.
I do like the chemistry, but again, the chemistry of Hangman and Omega, because they will, spoiler alert, win the tag titles. So eventually, they are showing their cohesiveness as a tag team. And also, we got to see a little bit of the foreshadowing of Mox and Pac in the Death Riders.
Yeah.
So, but my biggest question on all of it was, AEW uses a lot of barbed wire. We saw Kenny bring out the broom and Moxley going to bring out the bat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Does TK or the production department, do they just get it from Tractor Supply? Or where do they get all their barbed wire from? That's what I was wondering.
They probably got a guy who owns the giant farm and he gives it to them wholesale. He just buys it all in bulk.
Or do you think even before they joined AEW, they were calling up the Briscoe brothers, because being on Chicken Farm, they probably got some barbed wire laying around there, where they see if they can get some from them.
I like to think they pull up to Tractor Supply and they're like, give me all of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Whoever the guy was, is Excalibur going into Tractor Supply and buying barbed wire? I'm just wondering.
I took my son into one of those little arcade places the other day, and he won a bunch of tickets. And he went up to the counter and he goes, "The Nidos, all of them." That's what I imagined TK did. He just walks in and goes, "Barbed wire, all of it, truck now."
And if that was
load
the case,
it up.
He got Cracker Barrel to sponsor some stuff. And who's remember the lawyer that we talked about during the paper?
Yeah, Farrah and Farrah.
Yeah. Yep. Why not get Tractor Supply to
those
sponsor?
Those guys have been on our podcast. Their faces so many times. They might as well sponsor us at this point, because I'm certainly going to put a picture of their faces behind every time that I say Farrah and Farrah. Pang!
Right.
There they are. When they've been on our podcast, they're a reoccurring guest at this point. For a third time reoccurring guest, I think, for Farrah and Farrah.
Don't think that if I end up in Florida in jail, that's the attorney I'm calling.
I hope they're still alive. They were looking a little old last time we had them on the podcast, so I hope they made it through and they're still alive. All right, let's get to this main event here.
What about Britt? What about Britt and Rio?
I don't care. I don't care. Rio's great. I don't have any interest in watching Britt Baker. She stinks.
I thought execution wise, this match was a little better. One of her better matches.
See, I don't know, man. I just don't feel it. Nothing about it makes me like it, and I think that makes me a hater.
again, like I said, her problem with me was inconsistency. She could have some good matches, she'd have bad, but personality wise, and where you don't have to depend on match quality, that's why I think she should definitely go to WWE.
Well, here's my problem with her. So we're watching a wrestling show,
Right.
not a show like WWE where they wrestle once every 3 weeks, and if they get to be on TV, their storylines are minimal.
Mhm.
There's really no substance to the wrestling portion of the show. She should be in WWE. She should absolutely should be, because her strength lies where her weakness is in AEW is her strength in WWE. Like you said, she's
Right.
got great personality. She's got the
Right.
thing with her hand. She's got the cool imaging. It's a cool idea. She's a real life dentist. It's a cool idea.
Right.
It's
Right.
just she's not good enough to sustain the style of wrestling that AEW is
Yeah.
doing now. We've
Oh
worked
yeah.
her out. Like, that's the problem. She's been worked out of the company because, number
Oh.
one, she thinks she's really, really good in the ring, and that's just not the case. And number two, it's just not working. Like, there's better places for her, dude, and it's
Now,
okay.
now speaking of the women's division currently, who told you the other day that there was probably going to be an injury in the Owen and a wild card or replacement would end up happening?
Yep, you did. You did. I'm very sad about it, by the way. I
I am
love
too.
Whitlow, dude. I'm very
Yeah.
sad about it.
But
That hurts my
that
heart.
that gets Mercedes in the match and then therefore main eventing for the championship at Wembley.
Okay, let me ask you a hypothetical then. So, say Mercedes is taking some time off, and she's not going to be back until she's scheduled to be back, right? Because Willow is going to keep it a little bit longer. So, what if Mercedes can't come back sooner than she's supposed to come back? Who do you put it on in the interim? Who's your interim person that you would choose out of the people that you have laying around? Like, you have
You talking about the TBS
Statlander.
title?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not talking about the TBS title.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking now that Willow's out of the Owen, it said wild card. That's going to be
Oh.
that's how Mercedes she wins the Owen, and then
Then
she
she
gets
gets
to
her shot
wrestle
at
the
Tekla
world championship at Wembley.
at All In. That's right.
Yeah,
Well, who
no,
do you think will win who do you think you'd give the TBS title to? It's not that easy of a decision. Like, I looked at a list of people that could get it, and it's not a who's who. I mean, people that have already had it, and then you've got a bunch of young people that you could promote here. You could give it to somebody like Queen Aminata, who totally could handle it.
yeah,
But I mean,
that would be a good one. She deserves a shot at it. That would be
there's a
good.
ton of people that are sitting on the cusp that probably you could put the belt on too if you want to. That being like Thunder Rosa again. You know what I mean? But like, do you want to do that again? I don't.
My guess would be if they didn't go with somebody like Queen Aminata, I could see them going with Alex Windsor.
Yeah, that would be cool. See, that's a person that I think is a great choice, and I think a person with a lot of upside. And while we're at Hot Take Dungeon, I think Alex Windsor is better than Jamie Hayter. So I don't know if I'm the only one in this, but I think she's the Shawn Michaels of the two of them. And I think in the future she's a world champion. So I got a lot of hope for Alex Windsor. At first I wasn't in, but as soon as I
Yeah,
started seeing the stuff that she's able to do,
yeah,
she's got the
yeah.
intangibles that Jamie Hayter has never had. So Jamie Hayter got over by being violent, and then they changed her gimmick and took away everything I liked about her.
Right,
So there's nothing left that Jamie Hayter does that I like. Alex Windsor's got a built-in catchphrase. She's got a great look. She's working the promos. Her matches have been really, really good. And Jamie Hayter has good matches too. So that's the one thing that Jamie Hayter can still do really, really well is she wrestles. She
right,
wrestles
right.
great. But I just think, like we said, it's a Scorpio Sky situation where she had this thing that everybody really liked, And then she went away, and it's like, let's take away everything that we liked about her and just throw her
Yeah.
back in the mix. And like
Yeah.
that's the reason why since she's come back with the new hair and the face turn and all this stuff the last few years, I just can't get behind her, and I don't feel like I'm ever gonna be able to get behind her again. Like she's
Yeah.
lost all luster for me, in my opinion. And I don't know if that's harsh or mean, but I just don't feel it anymore, and I don't love it. So
Yeah.
to me, Alex Windsor's a great choice though, because I think you got a future world champion on your hands in her too. So I don't know how you feel about her, but
Let's do it.
all right. So let's get to this world title situation. This is not my Jericho.
I had a big problem with some of this match.
Okay, let's get into it. So I don't. This is the worst version of Jericho of all the versions of Jericho. Like every version in the history of Jericho, people hate the learning tree. I loved it. Everything else he does, he's like one of my favorite wrestlers. I really love everything else he does. I hate everything about this. I hate the presentation. I don't hate the matches in Japan, but once we translated it over to AEW, this
Yeah.
particular gimmick bothers me. It's not what I want because it's not Chris Jericho. Like I just don't like it. But Darby does Darby, so I don't think the match was as bad as I thought it was going to be because Darby could have a great match with the broom handle.
Right. Right. Oh yeah.
What
I
are
give
your?
a lot of credit for Darby.
He
But
made
I
this
did.
work, and
But I had a big problem, and AEW has done this before through the years with a different kind of match, and this really bothers me. It's a street fight.
Yeah.
Street fight.
Why are they in a ring? Is that what you're going to do? Why
No.
are they in the ring?
We had 3 rope breaks. 3 rope breaks.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even notice that.
And it's a street fight that there's supposed to be no DQ, but yet Aubrey is going to call for a rope break. You had 2 submissions and 1 pin where Darby grabbed the rope. Now, I know the story they were setting up. Jericho gets mad at the rope break, so he ties his hands with the duct tape. I understand. You're trying to tell a story. But don't call it a street fight if you're going to have rope breaks.
Also, you don't need that to get to the duct tape spots. Like there are other ways to tell the story. Right. I also think that like maybe it doesn't need to be in the ring for 10 of the 15 minutes.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, that was the problem I had. I mean, AEW's violence, this was more of a WWE street fight. You had some kendo sticks and a couple of chairs thrown at, but that was, and then the duct tape spot. And that was about it. And like I said, Darby was doing his thing, but I just didn't, and again, street fight. Why did Jake Hager have to run down, push him off the top rope, and then run away like he had to hide? If it's no DQ,
there's no DQs.
And so I know it was to protect Darby in this very beginning to see, okay, we're going to protect him a little bit. And, but I don't know. I just did not like that part of it because they've also had a problem with this over the years with a tornado tag match where it's supposed to be all 4 at one time, but then they would split up and they would actually tagging people in. It's like, is it a tornado tag or is it a regular tag? There's been some, that was one thing. Again, AEW consistent, no invisible camera. Some of these street fight tornado rules, is there DQ, is there isn't? They haven't been as consistent with that. So I've had a problem with that. I do want to give a shout out when you're watching it on HBO Max with no commercials. The first time I noticed it was at the hour and 29-minute mark. And I thought this was relevant for this past week. In the stands there was a guy holding up one of those big heads, that people blow up.
Ted Turner.
Ted Turner.
I saw
So,
it. I saw it. I said, "Is that Ted Turner?" And it is.
yeah,
To finish up the conversation about this match, though, like I thought the duct tape spot saved the match because I
yeah,
wasn't really giving a shit like you about any of this until the duct tape spot started,
yeah.
and
And,
he really
and
hurdled himself through those ropes and tried to hurt himself with duct tape on his wrists. Like it
right.
never
And
has
then
stopped, and
even that flippy thing he did off the top turnbuckle on Jericho, all that stuff. So,
the spot on the skateboard sucked too. There's always a part in
yeah,
every match where I'm like, God, that had to hurt so bad.
yeah, yeah,
Ow. And it's
yeah,
no less. I just, um, the only thing that about the Painmaker is it feels like the only person in pain is me because I have to look at that shitty makeup of his. Like, it doesn't
yeah,
feel like it makes him more violent or more angry. He punched Shawn Michaels' wife in the face.
right.
You don't get more violent than that by
He's
putting spikes all over your body. Like he's already
he's
inherently violent.
he is pulling, from movies and music, sort of an Alice
Yeah,
Cooper vibe
it's
type
lame.
thing with the
It's
face.
it's so lame.
Yeah,
It's so lame. When Alice Cooper does it, I don't get mad. Like when Alice Cooper
right.
does it, I understand what he's doing. When Chris
Yeah.
Jericho does it, I'm like, dude, you have a built-in gimmick. You're Chris Jericho. You don't have to do this. It makes
Well,
sense in
and again,
Japan because it's harder to tell a story in Japan because you're not doing so much promo. You're not doing
right,
so much TV stuff. It makes sense in Japan. But
right.
it doesn't make sense in AEW. There's no reason.
No, no.
And I don't know. I think that's what lowered me on this one. But uh, the cage match did not hate this. Last week it had a little bit higher of a rating. I think we were at like a 7.8. This is a 7.3. And basically the lowest rated match was the Britt Baker match. You can say that's because of misogyny, which is probably true. But I don't know. I think it might have been probably the worst thing on here. The highest rated match was the street fight, even higher. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Kenny Omega and the
Yeah.
boys. So at 7-7. So they pulled the whole average up. So we can thank Kenny and the boys and Hangman and Pac and and John Moxley for once again saving the rating this week from being in the low sevens to the high sixes. But all in all, I mean, we're still churning along. We got a few more weeks till Double or Nothing, right?
Yeah. Or
So
full gear.
I'm full gear,
Full
full gear.
gear.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping me honest.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think we're pushing in the right direction, but the sooner we get John Moxley some pants, the happier I'll be.
Right.
So that's all I need is I need John Moxley to have pants, and I need Trent Beretta's mom to be on TV more,
Yeah.
just like always. So that's my standpoint every day in AEW. Also, he's in the Death Riders now, right? Trent Beretta.
No, he's a Don Callis family.
That's what I meant. I meant the Don Callis family. So
Yeah. But who
there's a
is it? Who
chance.
is it?
There's a
Who
chance
is
that
it?
he could bring
Who
everybody
who
else
is
is in there. Why wouldn't they bring his
yeah.
mom in?
I think I can't definitely remember the point that it happened. I don't remember which Dynamite or Collision it was, but I think I'm in the Don Callis family.
You look like you're in the Don Callis
I mean, I
family.
don't remember. I don't remember when I officially went in, but I think I am.
Well, I went on eBay directly after this, and I thought I'm going to buy me an Inner Circle shirt. I wonder if I can grab me an Inner Circle
Okay.
shirt. So I'm in the process right now of haggling a guy for an Inner Circle shirt. So if it works out, next time we record, I'll have
You're gonna
myself
have an
an
inner
Inner Circle
circle
shirt
shirt.
on. It's not
Do,
that I
do they
really
still
like any of them except for Chris Jericho. I don't think I like another person in the faction
do
until
they
MJF gets there.
do they still have inner circle t-shirts on AEWshop.com?
No, but they should. They should because now that they put everything on Max, I'm going all the way back and I'm going to want all the old shirts. So yeah, I'm a fan of the Inner Circle shirt. I don't love any of them, but I love Chris Jericho and I do it for him. Just no more Painmaker. Jeez.
Oh, we're still
No
going
more
to get to
pain, but
see him. We're still going to get
I
to see
know.
him.
I just watched that match with Nick Gage a few days ago, and he does it in that
I
too.
was there live. Remember, I was there live.
Oh, you watched it live? How did that feel? Was the crowd
That was
disgusted?
good.
I
No,
felt like the crowd was.
no. I mean the thing of the death match. I was more worried when Cash left and they had to hurry the ending of the FTR and Ortiz and Santana match because I was worried about my man Cash had a legit injury. I was
How?
more worried
I don't
about that.
remember the injury. What happened? Did he hurt his foot or something?
Oh no, that was the one where the hook that holds the turnbuckle got exposed and ripped down his entire arm.
Oh my gosh!
And he
Talk
had to
about some
have
freak accidents.
yeah, because he was there holding it, and then they got him out of there quick, and you could tell they hurried the ending. They
Oh
got the
my!
victory. Yeah, they called an audible on that one because that was that was gruesome. And see, he was out for a little bit, and he had lost some feeling and had some nerve damage and everything in his arm.
Dang!
Yeah, I was
That's
you
probably why
know,
they hurried along into the pizza cutter palooza because they wanted people to forget about the cash injury. So they're like,
oh,
cut
I
him with
mean
the pizza cutter.
well, see, I didn't know that about, because where I was live, it wasn't until
You
I
didn't
got
see
back
it,
and
yeah.
watched it that I realized they did the Domino's commercial during it and all that kind of
It's
stuff. The
so
picture in
freaking
picture.
funny. Nothing could have happened at a better time in my entire life. There's never been a better laid out joke than having a Domino's commercial in the middle of a pizza cutter in a match.
Yeah, well, I was actually thinking about that recent the match the other night between Mark Briscoe and Ciampa, and they had the cheese grater.
They should have done it again. They should
They
Olive
could
Garden. Olive
Olive
Garden.
Garden, or even
We're obsessed that you're so obsessed. So Olive Garden's fan favorites are back. I mean, who can stop thinking about that tender braised beef tortelloni? Not the thousands who pleaded and petitioned for a comeback. And of course, you're a ravioli di portobello ride or die. And Molly can't wait to meet little 4-cheese manicotti. Embrace the obsession before they're gone, starting at $12.99.